This is PartyGod Douglas here with a reminder. Steven Universe and all associated images and videos are not claimed by me or the Midnight Geeks in any way. They are property of Cartoon Network, Rebecca Sugar, and all of the other fantastic creators on the show. This theory video falls under the jurisdiction of critique parody under fair use. Please support the official release. I will be joining you all in the comment section below to answer any questions or queries, and I hope you enjoyed this video.
I don't want your garbage.
Damn, girl. I get that she interrogated you, and believe me, you have a lot to be angry about. But how do you have so much anger to throw around everywhere? Wait, could it be? Hello everybody, and welcome back to One True Theory. And on today's agenda, we pull into a very familiar station, Steven Universe. Now, as evidenced by our intro, we have a specific topic in mind. Or rather, a specific character, Lapis Lazuli. Now, I have not seen a character quite so divisive in a work of fiction for what seems like closer to nothing. Though with the recent Into Deep Steven Universe event, that has seemed to calm down. Even after it though, one characteristic has stayed consistent from her initial appearance in Mirror Gym and her latest appearance in Into Deep. When this gym is angry, she stays angry. She has a softer, bubbly side, as we've seen with Steven, but most of the time she's on screen, she has this sour expression on her face. If you aren't Steven, then you are probably on the receiving end of that. And she has a sensible enough reason to be. She was a private citizen of Homeworld who came to Earth for a short visit only to be caught in a war, be injured to the point of poofing, and be made a prisoner of war, and to be interrogated for information she did not have by her own people. Then left trapped in a mirror for thousands of years with escape in sight but out of reach. She has reasons to be angry, but she seems to have a near infinite amount of it to sling around everywhere, as we see her do the Peridot and barn raids, and by her general demeanor almost every other time. Well, you said the reason. She suffered years and years of trauma. And I agree. There's no statute of limitations for suffering from trauma and abuse. Though thousands of empty years seems like enough time to work out through all the negative feelings, at least, to the point of not being so violently forward about it. Now, unfortunately, there aren't any cases of trauma victims living thousands of years to garner research from, so we'll have to wing it. Based on Lapis's general mood when she isn't being distracted by Steven's antics, I would have to conclude one thing. The reason Lapis seems so consistently and freshly angry is because she has eidetic memory to go along with all of the years spent in turmoil, both being a prisoner in a mirror and all the other events following it up until the Into Deep event. Now, I know you might be asking, what is eidetic memory? So to answer your question, eidetic memory, or total recall memory as it's called sometimes, refers to the ability of an individual who can accurately recall a large number of images, sounds, and objects in an unlimited volume. What does this mean? It's a topic of heavy debate within the scientific community, and although for the most part, it's never as it seems, there have been a few select case studies of people who have performed miraculous feats of memory which can be considered eidetic. Case 1. There's a Hungarian mathematician, John von Neumann, I hope I pronounced that correctly, who could recite exactly word for word any books he has read, including page numbers and footnotes, even those of books he had read decades earlier and not read since then. There are several other unusual cases of what could be considered eidetic memory within our human world, and that is Sergei Rachmaninoff. Oh god, I'm butchering all of these. Sergei Rachmaninoff, I once again hope I said that correctly, who was a composer and pianist who could recall a musical score after only sight reading twice. And savant Stephen Wiltshire, who was able to draw a skyline in detail after only a single helicopter ride. Why is this important? This is important for a number of reasons. You see, these are human cases, but the subject on the table is not a human, she's a gem. Gems are widely speculated by the fanbase to be a sort of sentient AI, a bunch of living supercomputers basically, with some added extras if you will. And I would say Lapis has a pretty convincing case for this. from her first appearance in Mirror Gym, although we didn't know it was her at the time, this line was uttered about her, or the mirror itself relative.
It can capture and display any event it's witnessed in all of Gem history.
Any event she sees, and we know from Same Old World, the mirror didn't provide this ability, and we know from the same episode they put Lapis in a mirror because she has what has been dubbed the mirror ability. The mirror ability is what I'm here to talk about, because this mirror ability is in fact eidetic memory. We see instances of it both in Mirror Gym, how it is able to perfectly replicate Steven's various Stevenisms through the day, and we see her ability to do it again in Same Old World, when she shows Steven her backstory. And before you say anything, the Same Old World's flashbacks detail is not perfect simply because Lapis is openly displaying it on another surface. Going back to Mirror Gym, where the images are exact, we can summarize the images when she is in the mirror are coming straight from her mind, while the images she is projecting here are being transferred from another source. It's also probably a more simplistic art style to make sure everyone knows it's a flashback, and to keep up the suspense. Naturally, there's going to be some difference. And if there's one bit of crucial evidence that truly nails in the fact that Lapis Lazuli has eidetic memory, it is the fact that she flew herself all the way home. And based on contextual evidence we get from later episodes, we can assume she made it all the way home before noticing anything was different. I'll give it to you that she could have probably found the galaxy by herself, because Garnet and Peridot are able to point out the galaxy Homeworld's in from the barn. But how do you find a single solitary planet in the midst of an entire galaxy by yourself? Well, if Lapis had eidetic memory like I was throwing out, that means she probably could have seen some star maps about Homeworld's galaxy, looked at them once, and been able to completely and utterly memorize them in order to get herself back home. We know all gems aren't born with the inherent knowledge of Homeworld, because as we can see from Amethyst, she has absolutely no idea what Homeworld is about, and all of her knowledge from Homeworld comes from all of her friends and family of the gems. It comes from Garnet, Pearl, Rose, it comes from all of them, and it doesn't come from some deep internal source, which means Lapis Lazuli did not have the knowledge to return to Homeworld somewhere inherent inside of her, but instead from an external source such as star maps in order to find her way back home, thus proving she has eidetic memory, because there's no other way she could have found herself home unless she received help along the way. But based on her dialogue throughout the series, we can assume that this didn't happen. So why is it important? So the memories in her head are exactly perfect and wonderfully detailed. Why is that important? Well, when you have true eidetic memory, those memories stay pristine. Forever.
Forever!
So no wonder Lapis has enough salt to sling around at everybody and everything even tangentially involved in the trauma. All day, every day, she can see every bad thing that has ever happened to her in clear-cut, pristine, play-by-play detail. When she sees Peridot and she thinks about being interrogated, maybe the interrogation itself wasn't too bad. But the interrogation reminds her of her originally being trapped in the mirror and being interrogated by her own people, being abandoned by them for thousands of years of solitude, all in clear, pristine detail. So at the end of the day, she isn't completely angry at Peridot. It's just the memory of what she did, which sets her off on all these other tangents of memory, which eventually reopen the scars and let the pain flow through. So at the end of the day, she isn't completely angry at Peridot, but it's just the memory of what she did which sets her off on all of these other tangents of memory, which eventually reopen the scars and let the pain flow free. Any anger surge to where she is intentionally going out of her way to hurt someone who is clearly a different person than she knew and is genuinely opening herself up to make amends. The time when we see Lapis happy is because she is able to look past her predisposed ideas about certain things and look past her memories and see things with a fresh perspective. An example of this is Steven being a crystal gem. She was able to look past the fact that he kept claiming he was a crystal gem and was a crystal gem because he was genuine with her, because he was nice, because he was everything she never expected a crystal gem to be, considering all the ideas she's been able to gather about them from being in a mirror for thousands of years. It's this fresh perspective that is going to allow Lapis to be able to grow and become a healthier, happier person, and it's going to take some time, but we definitely need more happy Lapis. Though Sunder Lapis certainly does offer us all something to relate to. It just goes to show you that eidetic memory has its advantages, but it certainly can be weighed down by specific circumstances. And Lapis is feeling this pain, and to her, we give our condolences. And we hope for the best. Anyway, this has been One True Theory, and thank you for watching. Hey there, Midnighters! How did we feel about this theory? Was my memory spot on for this one, or did it seem like I was a little scatterbrained? Is this your one true theory, or is it one of your no true theories? Let me know in the comments below, and hey, while you're at it, why don't you like this video, and more to the point, why don't you subscribe? You stay tuned for all of our awesome content here on the channel, like my other Steven Universe Theory video. It's about what gyms really are, you know, since In Too Deep technically never told us what they really are, like I promised. Or maybe you just want some hilarious people providing some amazing commentary to some of your favorite or least favorite games. If so, click here. This has been One True Theory. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. So now I have to give you something a little bit more divisive. How do you all feel about the character Lapis Lazuli? There's a link to the poll in the description. Be sure to go and check it out and let me know how you feel, because genuinely, I'm curious. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.